is the first installment of the GFA film program, and this is called The Shot. Alright, so first off, the shot is defined as the building blocks of a film. The shot is the filming of a scene from camera rolling, which means that all the recording for the camera and the audio equipment starts until the stops or cuts from a given angle or movement. So remember when we were doing coverage, so you have a few different shots. It may start out with the master shot, then you may have the medium, then you may have the close-up, but for each of those shots, you would have rolling, to start it, and then a cut because you're going to shoot the scene all the way through. All right. So right here we have the coverage formula, and it's in a few different ways. You have scene one. Remember back to the film riot video where you have the master shot or the what? Wide shot. Then you have two other shots. So if you remember back to the video with the girl and the boy when they were sitting at the table in a house, and like there was a Harry Potter reference and whatnot, you had the master shot that showed both of them and everything in the scene. And then what you notice is you had the medium shot of the boy and the medium shot of the girl. So again, the concept of it is since the master shot shows everything that you want to focus on from a general perspective, then you can use other shots after that to pick apart those details within that master shot that you want to focus on. In scene two, this is something new for you. We have a fluid master shot. So with this shot, it's one continuous shot that changes different shots in it, but again, there are no cuts. So as you saw back in scene one, you have the master shot and then these other shots, so it gives you options to cut from this shot that shows everything to this detail to this detail. But in shot one of the fluid master shot, what you have is you only have one shot that transitions from maybe a close-up to a wide shot to a medium shot to a crowd shot based on the way the camera is moving from one place or one person to the other. And then in scene three, all it is a more complex version of scene one. So as you can see, we got the master shot. That's in both of them. But what we also have are more details. So shot one, or excuse me, shot two or shot three. So that it may be those two main characters that are talking. But then, maybe shot four is a close-up of something that character one picks up. Or maybe shot five is a close-up, like an extreme close-up on the eyes. You just never know. But again, with this one, it has a lot more options. All right, we're gonna move forward. So the take. Remember in our last project, we had many different takes, and all that is for every shot. So you may have the master shot, and actually I'm gonna go back to it. You may have the master shot, and then you got shot one, shot two, shot three, shot four, and all of these shots. Well, for each of them, you might have 20 takes of the master shot because it took 20 times to get it right. You may only have 5 of the second shot that's a close-up of character one, and then you may have, it just kind of varies from each shot. But again, the idea of a film take or a take of a shot is, it's just every recording that you have until you get it right. All right. With that said, we're going to move along. All right, so types of shots. This is just a general overview of it. Because unlike the other descriptions for shots that we've had before, we have a general idea of shots, but right now with film, what it does is it just gets more specific. So if you look at these lines, you can really analyze that. You may want to pause the video, but you can analyze all of this. And again, what it does, or the concept behind it, or excuse me, the thought process behind it, is in film, you have this thing called a shot list. So somebody may give you a list with all of these different shots. So it may say a wide shot of Homer Simpson, a medium shot of Homer Simpson, a medium close-up of Homer Simpson. And with that, since all of these, really these are general, but when you look over here at all of these different lines and what they represent as far as shots, it just gets more specific because on a set you have a whole lot of people, and all you're doing is you're giving out directions and whatnot because it's hard to manage a whole lot of people, and you really don't have a whole lot of time to really break everything down individually because you wouldn't get anything shot. So with that said, that's why it has to be so detailed and specific. And what you'll notice is like all of these, the breakdown of these shots is really just more specific wide shots, medium shots, and close-up shots to make sure that the camera operators are getting exactly what the directors and assistant directors want. All right, so moving along. This is just more of a description for all of those more specific shots that I was just mentioning. Again, these are probably some titles that you haven't seen yet, but all it is it's just more specific, all for the purpose of getting that shot that they were intending to get. All right, so right here, of course, the wide shot is pretty much self-explanatory. It shows everything. You can see this church, you can see the people, you can see the cemetery and just the things around them. But again, it shows everything, and looking at this, if I was the videographer or the filmmaker, after showing all of this, there's a lot to go to. Maybe next I would go to a medium shot right here so I can show them. You know what I mean? Because maybe they're having a conversation, or maybe they're looking down at the grave. So I could show the flowers. I could show the name on the tombstone. I could show these guys. Maybe they have a little story going on. But again, the concept of it, especially with film coverage, it all goes back to that, is that once you show everything, then you can go in and get these details. All right. Next up, you have the full shot. So overall, the full shot, it just shows an actor or actors and actresses from their head to their feet. Another name for this shot, especially in production for television, is a head to toe shot. And it's exactly what it says. You can see their head to their feet. What you notice is composition wise, you always want to give them a little headroom, as well as you want to give them a little room at the bottom because you don't want to cut off their feet. All right, but again, head to toe shot or full shot. All right, so we have types of shots. There's some more types of shots. So what you notice is this is the the average medium shot, but remember, like I said before, with these shots, as we keep on breaking it down, it gets more specific. So besides the regular medium shot that's from the waist up, we have this cowboy shot or the medium full shot. And with this one, what you notice is his waist is right there and it's about to his thigh, almost to his knee. So again, you just have a looser medium shot. That's really all it is. That's the only difference. This one, the typical, this is kind of in the box, if you will. And again, with this one, it's just a little looser, just a little looser. And that makes all the difference for that need in the scene to just show a little more to tell the story. All right, moving along. So we have the close-up. So of course everybody should know what the close-up is. It's something we've been doing for a while, but a twist on that is you have the medium close-up. So I'm gonna go back to this one. Just like this cowboy shot or medium full shot is just a little looser than the average, waist up medium shot. The same thing applies to the medium close-up. What you notice is, actually, I want you to think about some differences that you see right here versus this close-up shot. All right, and hopefully, what you should notice is that you can see a little more of the chest versus with this one it's just kind of at his neck. You got a little shoulder in there, but it's really kind of close to his neck and his face. But over here what you can see is you're at that chest area and it's wider because you got two people in it. And you can see the same coverage on both of them. All right, but that is the medium close-up. All right, and now this is a newer shot for you, the choker. So it's more specific, right? It's that same concept. So you have the choker, which is kind of, it's closer in the face. It's a lot closer than this average close-up to where you see the neck and everything. But again, it's just really, really in there, right? And then you have the extreme close-up, which is on the face. One thing I want you to keep in mind is that these close-ups, maybe the choker is kind of only for people and animals and whatnot, but the extreme close-up, that it doesn't only apply to people. You know what I mean? It also applies to things. You may have an extreme close up on a watch, on what you call it, somebody's hair, on a blood stain, on just anything that you really, really need to see those details on, right? All right, moving along. This is pretty much self-explanatory. So, one thing that you learned a long time ago is that we have a single shot. So, of course, single meaning what? One. So you have one actor, right? That's the focus. This it wouldn't be a crowd shot at all, because the focus isn't the crowd. Even though you have a whole lot of people, going to composition, this is the focus right there. Now, if this guy was pulled out of the way, then it would be a crowd shot. All right, but that is a single shot, meaning one person, one actor is the focus. Now you have a two shot. This is also referred to as a medium two shot. This shot specifically because it's from nearly the waist up, and it's on both characters. So you have two people that are framed in a medium shot, right, from the waist up. Now the difference to this is you could still have a two shot, but you can apply this two shot, of having two actors or actresses, to any type of shot. So, for instance, if we go back to the full shot, what is or not a medium full shot, but what is a two full shot, or what is a full two shot? Excuse me. What that is just imagine two actors seeing them from what? From their head to their feet. Okay, so you can apply this to any shot. You could have a full three shot. A full shot with what? Three actors. That's what it is. All right, so moving along, you have the establishing shot. Of course, it shows everyone at a given point in the scene, usually the beginning to end. So that definition is all right. It just establishes where you're at. One thing that I want you to keep in mind is that this is not the only way of establishing a location or somewhere. So one common example that I use is Westlake High School. So, of course, the obvious establishing shot would be what? Probably the outside of the school, to where you can see just the landscape of Westlake, and you can see, just everything, the building, right? But taking it a step further, to maybe, establish Westlake, but in the total opposite way, this is a wide shot. So what's the total opposite of a wide shot? A medium shot, or really, no, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It would be a close up, right? So I want you to think about something that you could have a close up on, that could still establish that the focus of this scene or this story or whatever you're shooting is Westlake. What would that be? All right. Hopefully you guessed that it would be maybe a sign outside that says Westlake High School, and that it would be correct. Maybe you have a nice W in the stadium that has Westlake on it, but just anything outside or on the premises that also has Westlake paraphernalia, or the name Westlake. It just tells you right off the bat what it is. At this point, we should all know what the master shot is. Again, that is the wide shot that shows everything. In this scene, if you think back to that film ride video, even though this scene wasn't in that video, this is the master shot. So now if you remember the singles or close-ups, I can go or I can cut from this shot, this wide shot of them, to the medium of her or the close-up of each of these characters. You can see they're having a conversation, and again, it just plays into that whole concept of film coverage, right? We have this master shot that shows everything, and now that we're covered with that master shot, we can then go in and get these details. And all of these, they just work together to tell that story. All right, and actually one thing that I want to revisit is that, and I'm sorry I didn't say this on the first slide, but again, I want you to look back at this principle. The shot, all of these shots, wide, medium, tight, cowboy, full, all of these shots are just building blocks of a film, right? So you have each shot that builds in a scene, right? We go from this wide shot to this close up to this medium to this wide shot, and all of those shots make up a scene, right? All of the scenes in a film make up the film, right? So it builds on each other. I want you to think about that concept. It's very, very important, especially as you move forward. So again, that applies here, right? For this scene, all of these shots that I'm gonna shoot of it, the master shot, the close-ups, right? Maybe a two shot, maybe a over the shoulder. All of those shots are going to work together to build the scene. And in this case, this production company, as they built the scenes, they ended up building a film. All right, moving along. We can't see this one worked out, and actually, I want you to ask me about it. Or if you want to, you can go online on YouTube and look up a fluid master shot. But pretty much all a fluid master is imagine a camera moving from one location to the other. So again, right here, what you see is this guy is giving this other person money, and what you notice is it's not a close-up, but it's really kind of a medium. Really, actually no, I would say it's a medium close-up of maybe the hand, if you will, and that's still debatable. But the camera, it's not going to have any cuts. That's why it doesn't have the master shot and then shot 1, shot 2, shot 3, shot 4, and all of that. It doesn't have that, because what's going to happen is this camera or this shot, yeah, this camera shot, it might transition from being this shot to going up to the guy's face or the girl's face, as you may see a smile on their face as they take the money. And then after that, what you notice is the shot has transitioned from a medium close up on the hand to maybe a close up of the guy to see his face. And then after that, the camera may move back fluidly to where you can see a two shot of these two guys, and you can see their shoulders and their faces and their heads. And then as the guy may get into the car, and I'm just playing I'm just playing off of what I see and imagining, you might see the guy get in the car. So then this shot of the hand, this medium close up, has transitioned to a close up on this guy, which is transitioned to a two shot, a medium two shot, that has transitioned to a wide shot of the guy getting in the car, all because of the camera's movement. And again, might be a little hard to imagine that, but please ask me about it, or you can also pause this video, go on YouTube, look up fluid master and or fluid master shot, and you'll see some examples. All right, moving along, we have some other types of shots. So we have the over-the-shoulder shot. So this one is nothing new from what you haven't already seen. Again, the camera is over this character's shoulder, and you can see the other character's face, right? I can see two eyes, the nose, the mouth, but I can see somewhat of a front view of the face. I can see all of the features that I need to. The French over, it's a little different because it's still over the shoulder, but what you notice is it's over the shoulder of both characters, and they're both looking away from the camera. All right. One thing that I do want to point out is that again, right here for this over the shoulder, I can see his eyes, I can see his mouth, I can see his face, I can see all of those details on his face. With this one, I'm only limited to the side of his face. All right. That's very important to note that. And again, all of these shots, they work together to build each scene. So you want to use them as tools. Every shot is going to be different. So again, you want to use them as tools to get across the point that you want to get across. All right, moving along. Some more basic shot functions. So right here, what we had is the over the shoulder. We have two different types of over the shoulder shots, but we also have the reversal technique. So again, right here, what you can see is that right now you can see the guy's face in this traditional over the shoulder shot, and you see the girl's silhouette, or her the kind of the cutout of her face and her body in it, right? And so then in the reverse of that, what you see her, and then you see him. What you notice is that she's right here, and guess what? She's right here in the frame, so she hasn't changed sides at all, right? She's right here in the frame, and then also in this next frame that they end up cutting to, she's also in the same place. The difference is I can see her face down here when it's reversed, but I can't see her face right there. And the same thing applies to him. When we talk about matching, one thing that you also want to think about, or one thing that I think about, is matching action. So for instance, as we cut, what you'll notice is you can see her hand coming up. We can't see it right here, but sometimes we don't have restricted motion, so that means that maybe in an interview, and this is what this is used for, is interviews and conversations. But in an interview, you might have somebody that's really animated, that likes working with their hands and talking with them, and so by switching it, it makes for you want to think about matching that action. So for instance, if she has her hand up right here, and is moving, I should see that same motion match over here as I cut to it. All right, we're gonna move along. All right, so next up, of course, you got an insert shot. So this, it just focuses on things that you want the audience to focus on. But with this, one thing I want you to keep in mind is that it's only on specific things, and you don't shoot the whole scene. Like if it's a 5-minute scene, you don't shoot this for 5 minutes, right? That it would just kind of make no sense. You want to shoot it in the right context. So if I'm this actor, I might say the lines that correlate with me holding this watch. But again, I'm not going to play out the whole scene by just focusing on that, because it's just going to be an insert that's going to be inserted whenever it's implied that I look down at my watch. The POV shot, the point of view shot. So pretty much right here, you can see this is probably a little baby or something like that. And again, the idea of it is to just play on the point of view of some person, right? And again, the concept is you are mimicking, or you are simulating the point of view that somebody is looking at. So for instance, right now, you have you're looking through the eyes of a baby, right? So the baby is looking up, and you have this guy that's kind of that's kind of like, I guess playing with the baby, doing whatever, hide and seek, or with the eyes, or whatever he's doing. But again, you have that perspective. So whenever you think of the point of view, you want to think of the perspective of whatever person that you are, or that the point of view is being modeled after. And with that, you can be very creative in many ways. I want you to think about some ways you can be creative with the point of view shot. But yep, that's the concept of that. Next, we have some more basic functions. So the low angle shot, the main thing that I want you to get with the low angle shot is that if you notice this lady, it makes her look very, very strong, right? It makes her look big. And that's really the idea of it. The low angle adds strength to that person, right? Makes them look very, very powerful. The high angle shot, as you can see with Matilda, it makes her look very, very weak. And that's just it. So again, one thing I want you to remember is the low angle shot makes them look what? Strong. And the high angle shot makes them look what? Weak. All right, moving along. So we have basic shot functions, the Dutch angle. This is nothing new for you. The basic idea of it is that the camera is off balance. Like if you notice, it's tilted. And with this, I want you to keep in mind that it would be on a tripod and it wouldn't be shaking, but it would just be tilted. And with that, it just shows you that something is wrong or something bad is going to happen. That's just the idea of it. And then we have an overhead shot or a bird's eye view. So with this, as you notice, it's the same concept of a high angle shot because you have Matilda that looks powerless, and you also have these guys that look powerless. Also, what it shows is that right here, since it's higher up, maybe this whatever figure is above them, maybe it's really, really, really massive. And then, it also helps to see the facial expressions on their face. But again, that's just the idea of the bird's eye view. It's just an extended version of making them look weak. So it's like she looks weak, but they look weaker. All right, moving along. Basic functions. Now we have how the camera moves. So we have a few different ways we can do that. It can be done by a dolly, a slider, a jib, a crane, a Steadicam, or even it can be done by your own hands, so just holding the camera, which is something that some of y'all do. And then we have a tracking shot. Is a moving shot in which the camera moves along with the subject. So yep, that's pretty much self-explanatory. The dolly, for instance, this right here is a dolly, right? So the fact that the camera is pointed this way, if you move from left to right, that's called tracking or trucking, right? And like right here, imagine the actor being or actress right there, and if they're walking right here and the camera is moving with them, they're being tracked, right? Or else they're being, or I guess you could say they're being followed, right? Just side by side. But again, if it's from left to right, that's tracking or trucking. And the other thing is, imagine if the dolly was I had wheels on it and it was moving forward or backwards, right? That is called dollying. So it could still be on these tracks, but imagine this camera operator moving it, moving the camera to where it's facing this direction. And the opposite would happen. Again, it would just be a dolly. All right. A smaller version of this is a slider. I encourage you to look that up on the internet. And now we're going to look at some jibs, cranes, and Steadicams. All right, so of course this is a dolly again. This is a Steadicam. So the object of this or the idea of it is to be able to move the camera around with fluid motion. Over here, it's on the track because you want the motion to be fluid. Next up, you have the crane or jib. It moves high in the air, and it just gets those aerial shots. And it can also go down low all the way to the ground to show that dynamic between the two. But again, that's all it is. It just gets those high up shots to show the landscape and also to move through space. And get some really, really high production value type of shots. All right, so next, last but not least, we have a zoom shot. So the zoom shot is used to really to zoom in during a shot or to zoom out, right? So with that, you want to definitely make sure that that your zoom speed is fluid. But again, right here, it starts out as somewhat of a not really a wide shot, more like an over the shoulder shot. But imagine the shot starting out like this and then zooming into her face. Or maybe the opposite happens. Maybe it starts right here on a close-up and it zooms out to this shot. But that's just the idea of that. Next, you have you can use zooming while you dolly, and that's called the vertigo shot. I want you to look this up, but all it does is it gives you the simulation of your environment moving around you. and is most famously used by Alfred Hitchcock in a film that he called Vertigo. But again, it just gives you that uneasiness that's pretty much kind of cool sometimes. I want you to look this up on YouTube. They have some examples, and if you need to, let me know, and I'll give you an example. All right, and these are just some terms to know. You already know pan, you already know tilt. Some new shots, or I guess ideas of shots. The money shot costs the most, has the highest production value. So with that, if you think about a scene where you have cars blowing up and you need a whole bunch of cameras and you can only blow up these cars once because the cars cost $20,000 a piece, that's a high production value type of shot. So like imagine it being $1 million shot, and you can only shoot it once. So hence the term money shot. The Martini shot, final shot of the production day, and the Abbey Singer shot is pretty much the second to last shot. So again, all of these are good terms to know, and you want to put it down. So last but not least, we're going to skip this. You may save this for a later time, but last but not least, you want to do this for homework, so you can pause this and copy that down, and study for the quiz. So again, all of this information, it will be on a quiz that's coming up very soon this week. So again, study this for the quiz. Well, I hope you took some good notes. At this point, if you finished this, you can come back out of the editing bays if I've allowed you to go back there with your group, and we're going to compare answers, and then we're going to do the next assignment. With that said, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in a few.